My GPS took me to the wrong location. When I found out why, I was horrified. My dog Luna and I started the journey to my parents' home, and just halfway through, I saw a roadblock ahead. I picked up my phone and turned on the GPS, which rerouted me onto a road that I thought would go around the roadblock and right back on the path I was supposed to take. I expected this would just be a normal trip, but I never could have guessed the horrifying reality this would lead to. Since I had no other choice, I decided to follow the prompt and got off the highway and onto the old road. It led me through some rows of crops until they cleared away, and I was faced with industrial buildings far in front, which were part of a town ahead. I checked my GPS and realized that I was still on the right path. However, there was no indication anywhere that I would be going through a town. I shrugged it off and thought everything was fine, so I continued driving nonetheless, not knowing the terrifying mistake I was making. It was at this point that Luna started barking furiously at something in front. I checked the windshield, and when I saw nothing, I squinted towards the town. There didn't seem to be anything suspicious there, so I simply petted her, trying to calm her down. She kept spinning in circles though, clearly agitated by something. I thought everything was fine, so I went on and entered the town. After only a few blocks, I saw another roadblock in the middle of the street. Checking the GPS, I realized that it wasn't aware of it, and it instead continued telling me to go forward. I turned left and tried one of the adjacent streets, but it was blocked too. I continued driving, looking for a way through, but all the streets leading in that direction were blocked. I checked the GPS again, but no luck. I was in front of a dental office by this point, so I figured I'd go inside and ask someone there for directions. Luna started barking again, but I told her to calm down and left her inside the car. I went inside the dental office and saw two people inside, the receptionist and a janitor. "Hi, sorry to bother you, I'm kind of lost." I approached the receptionist. The lady outright ignored me, continuing to type something on her computer. I waited for a moment, thinking she was in the middle of something and would respond soon. After around 10 seconds of waiting, I repeated, "Hey, excuse me, I have a question." She continued typing on her computer, completely ignoring me. I turned to the janitor and asked him the same thing. Like the lady, the janitor didn't even glance in my direction. "Sir, can you hear me?" I said a little louder. The janitor made no response. I thought to myself that people here were extremely rude, and I pulled my car keys out of my pocket, preparing to leave. A coin got dropped out of my pocket along with the keys and fell on the floor with a loud click. Immediately, the reception lady and the janitor jerked their heads in my direction. They stopped doing their business and were now staring at me with unblinking gazes. I froze, not sure how to react, and then they both stood up at the same time. Not breaking their gazes, they started taking steady steps towards me, the janitor going around the chair and the reception lady around the desk. They didn't even stumble or run into any objects, despite the room being cluttered with a plethora of items. It was as if they knew exactly where to step, despite having their gazes fixed on me. I freaked out and ran up the stairs, which were right next to me. I shut the door and ran through the hallway, opening the next closest one, bursting inside the dental room. As soon as I stepped in, the dentist and the patient shot their heads in my direction, staring like the two people below. The dentist straightened his back and the patient stood up, and they both started striding towards me, never blinking and never breaking their gazes away. I screamed and ran back outside and saw the janitor and reception lady no longer taking slow and deliberate steps, but actively running after me, their faces contorted in anger. I shoved the janitor, and he stumbled backwards onto the reception lady. I used that chance to run down the stairs and back outside on the street. It was pouring by now, and I saw more people in the distance, running in my direction with the same intense stares. What scared me the most was the way their facial expressions were. Their mouths were firmly shut, and their eyes seemed angry and hateful, but they all silently ran towards me, not a single one of them uttering a word. I heard Luna's muffled barking from the car, and I ran in, fumbling for my keys. I put the keys in the ignition with trembling hands and turned them. The engine roared to life and I floored it, grazing one elderly man by his arm. I went right back the way I came and drove out of that cursed town, intermittently glancing from the road to the rearview mirror, keeping an eye on the herd of people running after me. And then I heard a loud bang, and my rear windshield broke. Luna started barking even more viciously, and when I looked in the rearview mirror, I saw one police officer pointing a gun towards the car. More bangs ensued, and I ducked down, holding Luna down as I did so. There were a few more bangs that echoed in the distance, and then they stopped. I drove in a ducked position like that for a minute or so, before checking on Luna if she was hurt, but luckily, she wasn't. I looked in the rearview mirror again. The town was pretty far away, but I saw the townsfolk, probably hundreds of them, just standing in the street and staring in my direction. I turned off my GPS and drove right back home. I apologized to my parents and told them I had some car problems, promising I would visit sometime in the future. On my way back, the people who saw my shot-up car gave me weird glances, and a police officer who pulled me over didn't seem to believe my story, but let me off with a warning after a thorough check. I haven't gone out of town since then, and I think that from now on, if the GPS reroutes me through any unfamiliar roads, I will ignore it and turn right back around.